Welcome aboard Workplace 10. Pythagorean Theorem 7.1. Last chapter, so we can get this done. Then you might have some loose ends to tidy up. There's a few sections in chapter 7. First thing you need, and this is absolutely necessary, this whole section, so really pay attention because it's built on in Workplace 20. So a right triangle is a triangle with one right angle, 90 degrees, right? The side opposite the right angle is the longest side, and it's called the hypotenuse. These are words you should be familiar with, but you may have forgotten. The other two sides are called legs, or in some cases, arms. The Pythagorean theorem, then, is the relationship between the sides of the right angle, right triangle. The right triangle ABC with the right angle C. We have that, then the Pythagorean theorem states the following: a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That only works, though, if it's labeled like this. So, side C has to be the hypotenuse, okay? Because angle C is the right angle. That's what we're saying. The A and B side, it doesn't matter if I put a little a here, B here on the longer side. I could have switched around A and B. That doesn't matter. Now, let's just take a look at this example here. And it's just using the formula if you have different letters. Label the sides of the triangle and state the Pythagorean theorem as it applies to them. Now, first of all, the sides of the triangle are always given small letters, and they're opposite the angle. So if this is angle P right here, this would be side P. So label it small p. I'll make my P a little better. Small p. Angle R, as you see here, it goes directly opposite, and its little r is the label name. Okay? And likewise, across from the 90 is a Q, so small q is the label. Now, the Pythagorean theorem is always the two sides attached to the right angle, in this case small r and small p, squared, the legs squared. So this would turn into small r squared plus small p squared equals small q, side q, squared, because q is the hypotenuse. I'm just recording a lesson. Yeah. Okay. Probably, that'd be fine. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what the letters are, as long as you always have the hypotenuse as the loner on that formula. Okay. Now let's see how this baby works here. Okay, you ready? We're going to go through this. Two different examples and two different ways to solve it. If you're solving for the hypotenuse, it's a little less work. You notice that Q is the hypotenuse in this case, right? It's across from the 90-degree angle. So what we're going to say is, in this case, Q squared is the hypotenuse. That's equal to the 3.8 squared plus the 5.2 meters squared. We'll leave the meters out of the calculation, but at the very end, you know that you're going to have an answer in meters. And always make sure before you start a calculation that the units match. If one of those was in centimeters and the other in just meters, you'd have to change them so they're both in the same unit. They do match in this case, so we're fine. Now, the next thing you do is you use your calculator to do some squaring. And that Q squared, well, nothing you can do about that right now. But 3.8 squared, 3.8 times 3.8, 14.44. The 5.2 squared, 5.2 times 5.2 is 27.02. Then you would add those together using your calculator. By the way, I made a mistake. Let's see. That was 27.04. And that adds up. Now here's the one step people often get mixed up with. If this is q squared is equal to 41.48, what's the opposite of squaring? It's the square root. Okay. So that's that check mark key, the square root key. You're going to use the square root key to undo the square. So q squared is equal to 41.48, but q is equal to, and this is on the calculator, you're going to use that square root button, 41.48. Different calculators require you to do it in a different order. You check with that one. On that one, I think you hit the square root button first, and then 41.48. Some others, you have to go 41.48, then hit the square root button. And what do you get? 6.4. 6.4. Perfect. You did it. So Q is equal to 6.4. And we know that's in meters. Your last step, your answer should include the unit that you were working with. Now that's great. That one didn't require too much extra work. This next one, there's a few extra steps. Why? Because the hypotenuse is not what you're looking for. Take a look at this one here. Here's the hypotenuse, right? So in this case, it's like your c squared, stuff like that. We're going to say 12.8 squared equals, okay? And here we are. 12.8 squared equals z squared, because that's a leg, plus 6.9 squared. Now the problem with this one is that the z is not all by itself right off the bat. But we have similar steps. First thing you do is use your calculator, 12.8, you square it. That's 163.84. Can't do anything with the z squared yet, so just keep it as z squared, but 6.9 squared, 47.6. Once you have that, you got to get the z squared all by itself. You done for this one? Okay, you bet. I'll mark it after I record. I got to check it later. Now, to get the z squared by itself, you got to undo. What is the opposite of adding 47.61? Subtracting. So you got to subtract that 47.61 off the right and the left side. It'll disappear on this side when you do it. So what we're going to do is go 163.84 minus 47.61 equals the z squared all by itself because we subtracted it off of that side. Once you do your arithmetic, you'll get 116. That's just from the subtraction, 116.23. That's the extra step in this kind of problem when you're looking for a leg. Once you got that, how do you solve for that? You got to do the square root. So the square root on your calculator, 116.23. Now I know you know how to use your calculator. You showed me that before. When you do this one, you get 10 point. What's that? Yeah, 10.8. And that's in inches, IN. Is equal to side Z. Okay. So that's how you do one of those. Now, take a look at the assignment questions. You got a few of them to do. Yes, question.
We got it
Okay, let me,
10.78?
yes. But 10.78 rounds to 10.8, yeah. Okay? So that's good stuff. Okay, over and out. I'll stop the recording.